I did my very first daytime cold approach in Leeds City Centre on the 4th of July 2020.
Got a few numbers, got a lot of blowouts, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that you get out there, get involved, do shit, and milk the udder of life, people.
Back then, I was stuck in a dead-end job working for minimum wage and absolutely clueless when it came to approaching women. But through daytime cold approach, I completely transformed my life, going from feeling stuck and hopeless to developing rockstar confidence around beautiful women and finding an amazing girlfriend. Not only have I turned my own dating life around, but I've also helped hundreds of busy professionals from all over the world do the same. In this video, I'm going to break down the 3 powerful principles I've used to create those transformations, both for myself and for my private coaching clients. Now, bro, before we get into this, I first of all want to make you aware of who this video is not for. This video is not for guys who want to sit around and complain about how hard dating is today. This video is not for guys who are adamant that daytime cold approach is a waste of time. And this video is not for guys who are bitter and resentful towards women. But if you're someone who's ready to step up, take ownership of your life, and actually put in the work to become the kind of man women are naturally drawn to, then let's get started.
We walked out of the strip club later just having the best time of our life, really. This woman was so beautiful, so smart, very ambitious, very intelligent girl. If you want a girlfriend experience out of this, you will get it, guaranteed.
Bro, I can tell you from experience that the biggest barrier stopping you from getting a girlfriend through daytime cold approach isn't your looks, isn't your age, isn't your height. It's what you believe to be true about yourself. Many guys simply don't believe that getting a girlfriend through daytime cold approach is actually possible. They say things such as, "This works for other people, but not for me. Cold approach only works if you're a Chad. Women don't want to be cold approached because approaching women is creepy, so I'm just gonna sit at home and wank myself off into a sock." Let me tell you about Graham. When Graham first reached out to work with me, he was 50 years old and had never had a serious relationship in his entire life. He had spent 3 decades of his life paralyzed by fear. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, and fear of not being good enough for the women he wanted. Even after watching my videos and seeing countless client transformations, he still doubted himself. He still doubted if this was possible for him. So last August, Graham decided to take action. He flew over to meet me in Krakow, Poland, and we completed a one-to-one in-person coaching experience. And bro, I will never forget meeting Graham in Krakow for the first time. This was a guy who was flooded with self-limiting beliefs, spending 3 decades stuck on the sidelines. From the way that he spoke to me, the way that he carried himself, he was dangerously low on confidence. But something remarkable happened during our time together. For the first time in his life, Graham pushed past the fear. Because he'd put money on the line, because he'd traveled to a new city, and because he knew it was now or never, Graham took massive action. Over a few days, Graham completed 100 direct cold approaches, and this was something that prior to meeting me in Krakow, he never thought was possible. He returned home a completely new person. He had transformed into a social weapon, and within a week of us working together, he approached a smoking hot 25-year-old woman, so a woman who was half his age. The two of them hit it off, and on one of our entourage group coaching calls, Graham said to us that, and this is the exact words that his girlfriend used, the reason why she was so attracted to Graham was because he gave off big dick energy. What this means is Graham was radiating an action taker aura. Rather than seeing his girlfriend and thinking too many steps ahead, experiencing failure in advance, because he'd put in 100 reps with me in Krakow, he was no longer overthinking. He was free from that doubt which had kept him stuck in fear for 3 decades. The two of them are still together. In fact, they recently celebrated their 1-year anniversary. The key to all of this is belief follows action. When you take massive action, especially when you're doing those first 100 cold approaches, you're not necessarily doing these approaches to get a girlfriend. If that happens, then great. But the reason you're doing these first 100 approaches is to become the version of yourself who's capable of getting a girlfriend. For Graham, those first 100 approaches that he did with me in Krakow was where everything changed. During these first 100 approaches, he made peace with his fear of rejection. He learned how to stay calm and confident in any situation. He discovered what works and what doesn't in real life conversations. And he built an unshakable foundation of experience that will last a lifetime. Imagine after you've done those first 100 approaches that you see a breathtakingly beautiful woman strut past you on the street. You're no longer going to be in your head thinking, should I approach? Shouldn't I approach? What if people are watching? What if I run out of things to say? Because you've already done this 100 times, because you've already practiced having car crash conversations, you've already practiced going for numbers, having undesirable outcomes, you get to a point where nothing phases you. Yeah, because you've put in the reps, because you've overcome that initial resistance, you are more excited to win than you're scared to lose. This is exactly how Graham got himself a 25-year-old girlfriend after spending 3 decades not feeling as though he was enough. And bro, he did this without being a Chad, without making 6 figures a year, and without being blessed with natural social ability. Like, dude, if Graham was able to get himself a 25-year-old girlfriend from Daytime Cold Approach, despite all of his self-limiting belief, despite spending 3 decades stuck on the sidelines, then as long as you put in the reps, as long as you surround yourself with the right people and the right information, then you can do this too. If you want to succeed with Daytime Cold Approach, then you need to understand momentum is everything. Many guys start strong. Yeah, they'll dedicate a couple of weekends to going out and cold approaching. They'll start off with this motivation, but then life happens. Maybe they have a few bad interactions, or maybe they have a super busy work schedule and they can't be as consistent as they wanted to be. They lose their momentum and they slide back to square one. Take my client George, for example. George worked with me after coming out of a toxic relationship. At the time, George felt stuck and frustrated because he'd known about all of this game stuff for years, but had never been consistent enough to actually see results. When we worked together in London, I not only helped George improve his skills, I not only held him accountable for his action and give him that necessary push, but I also introduced him to a network of like-minded guys. Every Saturday, George would go out religiously with these guys, building his cold approach skills one conversation at a time. Week by week, approach by approach, George stacked momentum, and it wasn't long before he started going on dates with women that he would have once labeled as out of his league. With me holding him accountable during our weekly one-to-one calls, George was able to stay focused and consistent. Then one day, something beautiful happened. Walking through his hometown, George saw a girl who he was genuinely attracted to. Now, the old George would have hesitated. He would have overthought the whole interaction, and rather than going over to her, he would have just kept walking. But not this time. With months of momentum behind him, George walked over, had a conversation, and established a genuine connection. That woman then became his girlfriend. Today, the two of them are in a loving, long-term relationship. Like, whenever I'm back in London, I'll meet up with George and his girlfriend, and I don't know, man, it's just nice. You know, it's nice to meet up with somebody who I now consider as one of my best friends. I see how happy he is. I see the relationship that he's built. And it's like that relationship was created through the momentum. Yeah, it wasn't a case of he went out on day one and magically got himself a girlfriend. This relationship was a direct byproduct of all of the reps that George had put in previously.
So I worked with Christian, and since then I've just become so much more confident, being able to talk to girls, going on dates. I found like a long-term partner now, which has kind of like transformed my life, and I've kind of used those kind of social skills, those kind of skills of understanding the self to kind of really springboard the rest of my life as well.
The other day, one of my clients, Ephraim, was reading a book on cold calling. And in that book, the author made an interesting point. He said that people weren't afraid of cold calling. They were afraid of calling, full stop. And dude, the exact same principle applies to cold approach. Yeah, in my experience, most men aren't just afraid of approaching women. they're afraid of approaching people. This fear, this fear of being judged, of looking foolish, of saying the wrong thing and losing value in the eyes of strangers, it leads to constant overthinking, hesitation, and avoidance. And it's the avoidance which amplifies the anxiety. If you want to get a girlfriend through daytime cold approach, then it's not just overcoming your fear of talking to attractive women, it's overcoming your fear of talking to people in general. Let me share Lucas's story. Last September, I flew out to Copenhagen and worked with Lucas one-to-one. Like many guys, Lucas felt paralyzed by the fear of approaching women. So here's what I told him. I said to him, Lucas, for now, right, before I even fly out to work with you one-to-one in Copenhagen, forget about approaching women, right? Instead, what I want you to do is focus on being as social as possible, right? Every day, just talk to everyone. Equipped with this information, Lucas immediately put it into action. And dude, he started small, right? Every day, he was just focused on starting conversations with the shopkeeper, with the waiter, the barista. Yeah, rather than just getting his coffee and bouncing, he was like, hey, how's your day going? And what this meant was by the time I touched down in Copenhagen and we started our one-to-one immersion, Lucas already had the foundations in place. We then took that momentum that he'd built on his own by talking to the barista, the shopkeeper, the waiter, and we then transferred this skill set into approaching women who he was genuinely attracted to. Today, Lucas is in a committed long-term relationship with a woman who he met through daytime cold approach. And this was only possible because of the social momentum that he stacked.
Yo guys, Lucas here. Recently worked with Christian in Denmark, Copenhagen, and I just wanted to share my experience with anybody who's thinking about working with him. The experience was fucking crazy. Like, the value I have gotten, like, it's only been 2 weeks since then, and I've been approaching women on my own. And yesterday I was at a mall and I approached a woman that I thought that was way out of my league, and ended up going on a date with her the same day for 2 hours, and I'm seeing her tomorrow. If the guys from the group or Christian had told me this before we started working together, I wouldn't believe it, because it's something that I wouldn't believe was possible for me.
When you live in a constant habit of opening new people, and by opening, I simply mean striking up conversations, giving random compliments, asking people how their day's going, even just making eye contact with people as you walk down the street. Just be like, hiya, good morning. Oh, beautiful weather we're having today. Maybe you see a guy with a really nice jacket. Hey dude, love your jacket. Maybe you see a guy with a nice beard. Hey dude, nice beard. Like, you are allowed to actually compliment guys as well, right? This is how you win the social game. It's just always be opening. Always giving people a reason to smile, always thinking, how can I leave this person better than I found them? This is all it comes down to. Most guys approach dating with a what can I get mindset, right? They see every interaction as a make or break situation. Like, oh, I hope this goes well. I hope this person likes me. I hope I receive love from the feminine today. But when you leave the house with a genuine desire to simply act, to open, to leave the world a better place, that's when you win. And dude, always, always, always remember this. You are only ever one approach away from meeting the woman who could become your next girlfriend. This is a reality that myself, Graham, Lucas, George, and countless other guys inside of our private community, the Entourage, have experienced. So bro, if you want to skip all the trial and error and just be given a proven framework for getting a girlfriend through daytime cold approach from somebody who actually knows how to do it, then beneath this video, there's a link, click it, and you can apply to work with me.
The whole experience was just mind-blowing. It was sensational. It was just incredible. Christian is a phenomenal coach. And the best compliment I can pay him is he is legit. He is the real deal.